saying that the 49ers, quote, can say it was Trey all along.
No, I'm not hearing anybody.
That's a crock of crap. They traded up to get Mac Jones, and the outside pressure became really bad. Outside pressure, huh? Greg, are you buying the 49ers were pressured to draft Trey Lance? That's the question.
Absolutely not. No. And we all knew that they were going for a quarterback. Now, you move up to the number 3 overall pick. You know you're not in the runnings for Trevor Lawrence and possibly Zach Wilson, and that was the case. So you're looking at Justin Fields, Mac Jones, and Trey Lance. You now have to do your due diligence. You may have moved up for whoever. You may have moved up thinking, okay, we're going to get Mac Jones, and we're all in on this guy. But now that you're there, you owe it to more than just yourself, but to the guys on your roster, to your future, to make the proper observations and assessments. And so that's what they did. And when you look at Kyle Shanahan and his process and his offense, Trey Lance fits his offense better than Mac Jones. Now, I truly believe that Justin Fields would have been an even better pick, but with going with Trey Lance, he can improvise. He can play on the run. He has the size and the durability. And when you look at what they're currently experiencing with Jimmy Garoppolo, he has so many intangibles, but the one question mark is his durability, his health. And that's why you look at a guy like Trey Lance, who's a big 6'4", 225-pound guy, can move out of the pocket, can take a hit, can deliver every throw that Kyle Shanahan wants him to deliver. And you look at Mac Jones, he's a good quarterback, a really good quarterback. I think he fell into a really great situation. But he can't do all the things that Trey Lance can do. I'm sorry, Mac Jones is great, but the upside, it's hard to overlook and to allow that to just lie in rest of somebody else's hands and the potential when you are right there sitting and you got to watch him at his pro day. You got to see him again. You got to see Mac Jones up close in person. You got to see all these quarterbacks for what they were. Talk to them, get them up in front of the whiteboard, see how their brain works, see if they can repeat the verbiage and spew it in ways that would make sense to the guys in the huddle. And they felt most comfortable with Trey Lance. It blows my mind that somebody would sit here and say they were pressured into taking a guy. Who gets pressured into taking a guy unless you're just you're getting bullied? That's just not going to happen in the NFL draft. You're going to take the best available guy that you feel fits your team, and that's what they did.
I love when they say they or others or a source. Like, come on. Own it. Who is outside sources? Please. Outside pressure. Where is this outside pressure? I say with a big, fat, juicy no, there is no outside pressure. But if you want, we could just humor ourselves right now, G. Jennings, is say, you know what? This is actually this is a way of saying an owner, a decision maker, someone of influence within the 49ers organization said, I hope you're taking Trey Lance. You're taking Trey Lance, right? You said y'all were taking Trey Lance? We traded up to get Trey Lance. Is that what it was? That's what it was. Huh? That's what it was. That's pressure. If you have somebody who can take your job away. We just talked about this the last segment with Aaron Rodgers. When you're dealing with somebody who has the ability to give your job or take your job, that's pressure. I bent under the pressure. We chose Trey Lance instead of Mac Jones because I would lose my job. No, let me tell you what this is, guys. This is what you call deflecting. You've already put into the ground. You're already throwing seeds into the ground. If this doesn't work, if for some reason Garoppolo gets in there, Garoppolo plays at a level where it's okay, but we want to see Trey Lance. Okay. You put in Trey Lance. Trey Lance doesn't play as well as Garoppolo. Well, how do you justify that? Especially if somebody that got drafted after him, if a Mac Jones is playing well, if a Justin Fields is playing well. To me, this is not a release from obscurity and anonymity to say, oh, well, you know what? We would have took Mac Jones. Oh, now that you saw New England take him and they were happy to stay where they stayed and let him fall into their lap, and all of the people say, oh, they weren't taking Mac Jones. Mac Jones wasn't good enough. Mac Jones wasn't the fit for number 3. He wasn't the fit to move up and take. All of these different prognosticators and experts saying what Mac Jones isn't, but yet he landed with New England. People are nervous. You took a small school guy, you took a chance, you took a flyer. Oh, he's the smartest quarterback in the draft. Great. Oh, he's the most talented. He's got a great arm and he does this. He's a leader. Great. You never have a bad day. You always feel like you can win with Trey Lance. Great. But what you're doing is you're letting everybody know that all these things that you think are Trey Lance and the reason why you took him number 3 are things that you can get out of the way of later on and say, think back to when we first drafted him and that GM came out and said under anonymity that we were pressured into taking him. That's all this is, Rick Bucher, is what you do a lot of, which is the great qualification of why something happens. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, with all due respect to all of us on this show and shows like it or social media and those keyboard gangsters out there, this idea that somehow outside pressure convinced the 49ers that, people don't like us taking Mac Jones at number 3. And by the way, it was a matter of where they were taking him, not necessarily that they were taking him. So this idea that decisions are being made by public scrutiny, that we've gone back to the Christians and the Lions, yay, nay, is just it's not reality. Now, if Kyle Shanahan was pressured into doing something else, I buy that possibility, that Kyle Shanahan preferred a Mac Jones and ultimately John Lynch or Jed York or the scout said at number 3, that's not the right play. I also can't help but feel that this may be part of the whole Aaron Rodgers conversation. Because if I'm the Green Bay Packers and I do get to the point where I might have to make a move, I would far rather have a Trey Lance who is unpolished but has all of the tools that I need for him to be a dynamic player. I'm not going to say on the level of an Aaron Rodgers, but has tremendous upside as opposed to a safer pick with a lower ceiling in Mac Jones. That intrigues me. That's where I'd be willing to go if push comes to shove and I have to move Aaron Rodgers. So I can't help but feel, because of the 49ers' interest, I put it out there way back in February. They were interested in Aaron Rodgers. This isn't something that just suddenly turned. They've long had this on their schedule. And so can't help but feel taking Trey Lance gives them multiple options. Yeah, he's got the bigger upside. We already have a quarterback in place. But if we can make that Aaron Rodgers move, that's far more attractive to the Green Bay Packers than a Mac Jones would be.
You talk about it giving them more options, and that's what's intriguing for someone like myself as a former receiver when I look at the possibilities that Trey Lance provides. And Kyle Shanahan, in my opinion, he saw the same thing, as well as John Lynch. You look at what he was able to do with Robert Griffin III when he was with the Washington Redskins at the time, the Washington football team now, his rookie season, offensive rookie of the year. They go 10-6. They win the NFC East. Like the endless possibilities. We thought Robert Griffin III was going to be something to behold. And then off goes Kyle Shanahan and no more this spectacular player. And so you look at what Trey Lance can provide. He can provide those things on the playing field. He can elude the tackle. Look at the tape of this young man. Everybody talks about him being smart, but he's a ball player. And at the end of the day, yes, you can be smart, you can be great, but you got to be instinctive. And that's what I see when I watch this young man play. He's an instinctive player who is going to go into the huddle with the play, but then he can flat out improvise. And when you look at Kyle Shanahan and what he likes to draw up schematically, he needs a guy that can kind of wing it when it breaks down and if it breaks down, because we all know it will.
I'll just say this very quickly. in the top 10 of the Pro Football Focus top 10 quarterbacks in the league, only 2 are from small schools. 2. That would